Hello. This is the second part of my discussion of the library's homepage. We talked about the chat reference widget, the contact information, the library hours in the last video. In this one, I want to talk about some of the other features, our one search box, our subject guides, and some of the other information that's available. We have a library blog, um, and and so forth. So bear with me on this. First is the one search box. The one search is our library catalog, essentially, as well as all of the library databases that we subscribe to. When you do a search through the one search, you're essentially searching everything that is available to you through the library. The problem sometimes with the one search is that you'll get many results, and it can be very difficult to narrow them down and find the most useful results. So I would suggest, and I'll talk more about this in an upcoming video, that rather than using the one search for searching for magazine articles and journal articles, you actually come to this page, which I'll talk about more in a moment, the Search Subscription Resources page. What that page does is it lists all of our databases individually in alphabetical order. And if you search them one by one, I think you're going to have much more success in finding good articles for your research. That said, I do want to point out that the one search box is a direct link to our online book catalog. So if you're looking, just for books within the North Hennepin collection, this would be where you would come to do that. So if you click on the Only Books link, okay, it'll pop up again. You have a number of search fields. You can search by author, call number. If you have it, you can search by the ISBN or the ISSN for journals, journal titles, subjects, titles, and so forth. I'm not going to really talk specifically about searching for books now, but I did want to point out that this is one way to get into our online catalog and search for books that we have, as well as searching for books that are available through interlibrary loan. And again, I'm sorry, but that's really material for another tutorial. Below that is our subject guides, and the subject guides are designed to be kind of a starting point for your research. If you're not really sure what you're doing or where to begin doing research within a certain area of study, the subject guides are there to help you with that. There are a variety of topics on this list. Let's say you're in a philosophy class, for example. I click on that, I click the Go button, and it takes me to basically what's kind of called a research quick start guide, places where you can begin looking for information on your topic. We've got subscription databases like Films on Demand, general reference works like Credo General Reference. We have some academic and scholarly article databases, Academic Search Premier, JSTOR. And then there are some helpful internet resources as well that are listed here. I'm going to close this out and go back to the main page. The nice thing about this is, if you're not really sure where to start looking, this can help you. It's not meant to be complete or totally exhaustive, but hopefully, you'll get an idea of some possible areas that you could look for information. And just by looking at some of these sources, a lot of times you'll find connections to other sources, and it'll draw you on from there, and so you'll find additional information. We have some other things on the website. There is a very basic mobile site that one of our IT staff developed a number of years ago. If you have a moment, you might want to take a look at that, see if it's something you might want to put on your phone. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that this website has. It is very basic, but it does, basically have a book search, and that might be something that would be useful. Down here, the librarian at nhcc.edu email address, that is kind of a catch-all. Anytime you can't think of who else to contact or um, send your questions to, you can always send them here. If you wanted to, say, for example, renew a book, or if you had questions about the library hours, or even if you had a reference question or something like that, and you just had no other option for where to send that request, that is always a possibility. And then we do also have a library blog. The library blog is a separate page. Generally, the library blog is a place where we will post things like changes to the library hours, what's happening on specific days like Student Success Day, which was happened recently, changes to services, changes to hours, just interesting things about the library will be posted here. We use this for new books and video lists as they're added to the collection. The other thing that is nice to know here too is that this blog gives you kind of a backdoor connection to some of our online databases. There have been times in the fairly distant past now where the website would go down and we wouldn't be able to get into our databases through the library's webpage, but the blog would still be available and you could still get into our library collections this way. So, just so you know that that's there, not essential, but something that might, be of interest to you. That's basically, I think, the end of this particular tutorial. In a moment, I'm going to talk about some of the subpages here within the library. These things located over here. So thank you, and I'll see you in a moment when we begin talking about these